Hi everyone, Jaymes Mansfield here bringing you yet another video. Oh my god, today is yet another episode of Iconic Blondes! Yes! And in today's Iconic Blondes, we are taking on none other than the legend that is Dolly Parton. Yes, the Dolly Parton, y'all. Oh my gosh, I am so excited because as you all know, Dolly Parton is like my religion, okay? She's my political beliefs, she's everything. I love me some Dolly Parton. Now, first things first, I got my mannequin head all prepped. We're gonna do things a little differently today. We're gonna be working on the back piece first, and then we'll do our front piece. So, I'm just gonna get started because I wanted to do Dolly Parton for the 1970s. You know, like the iconic big Porter Wagner hair. That's what I feel like everyone thinks of when they think of like Dolly Parton wigs. So that's what we're gonna do today, some Porter Wagner hair. Because the last Dolly wig I did was like Dolly from 9 to 5. So that's like quintessential 80s Dolly. Now we need quintessential 70s Dolly. Now I adore this Dolly because this is hair hopper Dolly. This is Dolly doing her hair the most glamorous way because she didn't have a whole lot of money to show out for costumes. So she always made sure her hair looked on point. Like those early days, like the early 60s, she always had some super fly hair. Like beehives, updos, barrel curls. She did it all. Like she was a hair hopper and she wasn't messing around. What I also love is like, she doesn't do it so much anymore, but she has it blended with her real hair. Like she bleached her hair out, or maybe, you know, she bleached the front. I don't know, but like it was bleached out to be like platinum blonde. And sometimes it'd be like silver or like copper blonde. Like she went through the gamut of blonde colors. She would bleach it out so that it would match her wig line so that she could cover it up. Because she'd be wearing like a full ass wig, like a full wig just popped on her head, and she pulled her real hair in front to shield it, to give it like a nice blend. So gorgeous. I mean, sometimes, depending on how high the quality of the video is, depended on how well the wig blended. Because some of those wigs you can clock. Like you can definitely clock like, oh yeah, that is her hair combed in front, and I can see where it begins and where it ends. Because sometimes it would be so much as like a little sad bang right here covering like this gigantic updo. But I love, like, she was ambitious and like she fought long and hard to get those wigs because everyone told her she looked ridiculous when she first started doing it. But she stuck to her guns because Dolly Parton knows how to brand herself. That's by far the one thing Dolly Parton is probably best known for, is being a businesswoman and knowing marketing. And she would know, like, she's marketed the idea of Dolly Parton for decades. So much so to a way where like everyone loves Dolly. Like she's on the list of people that almost everyone messes with. Like everyone loves them some Dolly Parton, which is really unique for a celebrity that like, she doesn't really ruffle feathers, but she also is political enough to where people really get behind her and really love her stances without ever having to be like outright vocally about it, you know? She's subtle in the way that she would do things, or like the projects she would take on to make statements. She would like sneak it in there. Like the back, you know, she took the back door with her points. For those of you who don't know, Porter Wagner was like a huge deal in the 1960s and 1970s. Everyone watched that show if they're country fans, because that's how you heard your country music. Like other than the radio, if you wanted to hear country music and hear new stuff, you would watch that because it catered specifically to that genre of music. So like the whole gambit of like, you know, Nashville stars and country stars would run through there. You know, like your Skeeter Davises, your Johnny Cashes, all that. Like they all had that circuit that they would go through. And Porter Wagner was one of those stops. Now, Porter Wagner originally had a girl singer before Dolly. And one thing led to another, and she did not work out. So he was looking for a new girl singer and was recommended Dolly Parton, who was a struggling songwriter at that time. And like, she was just trying to figure out where her break was coming from. Like she had cut a few records. Like imagine this, she actually tried to be like a pop girl singer in the 1960s. They're still out there. Like she was writing her own music. And my favorite one that she did is called Don't Drop Out. And it's like Dolly Parton singing the girl, like doing the girl group sound from the 1960s. Like it's so good. And like she was hitting some fun notes there. Like she was a good singer. She is a good singer. She can belt. But like, yeah, sounds completely different to what you would imagine Dolly Parton sounding like with a pop record. Like no country infused whatsoever. Like you can hear kind of subtle hints to it, but they were trying to like make her more mass marketable. They didn't really see the vision for her yet because she looked so modern compared to other country singers at that time. Like mind you, it wasn't really in fashion for female country singers to look the way she did. Like she was really stylish for her time. and really taking on like a very young, youthful look for that time. Because what I noticed about country music is like when a lot of things start to come a little passe, is usually when country music starts to adapt it and reclaim it for their own. Like the big hair, like the nails, the overdone looks of like the girl group sound were like, in the 60s, girl groups all looked overly done. Like every girl looked like they're going to the prom. They had their hair done in like updos and finger waves and beehives and flips and bubbles and all this stuff with like elegant evening gowns with beads and swings and all sorts of stuff. And when pop music was starting to go a different direction after the Beatles had landed and girl groups fell out of fashion, which I still am angry about to this day, country music started to take on that look. You started seeing girls like Loretta Lynn and Tammy Wynette coming in and just started like overly manicured women. Gigantic hair, beaded gowns, high heels, tight dresses. Like they're taking on like the Supremes look and adding a country swing to it. Like country singers started to look like the Ronettes. It was fascinating. And like it all started happening within like the late 1960s to the early 1970s. Every country diva looked like that. And I feel like it really added to the appeal, and Dolly Parton was of that wave of girls where she came in with such a unique and distinct look that she stood out from the crowd. Because like Dolly at that time, she said to herself, like she wasn't the most classically beautiful, but she made herself up in a way that like she was glamorous. Like she was very glamorous. And she's also just extremely likable and had a great personality, and it shined through on Porter Wagner, even in like those small little segments he would give her. And Dolly Parton and Porter were a dynamic duo together. Literally, like some of her best-selling records were duets with Porter Wagner. She made dozens of them. It was such a success that Porter didn't want it to end, and Dolly was starting to get tired of it because she was kind of known as like the second wheel to Porter Wagner. And she wanted to like spread her wings and go further. Like her dreams were more than just being the girl singer on his show. Like she was grateful for the opportunity, but she was ready to move on. She wanted to explore other options in her career that a lot of people told her she was foolish for even dreaming of doing. As the legend goes, her and Porter were just falling out, and she needed some way to get out of it. So it's been told that she wrote the song I Will Always Love You as basically a send-off message to Porter that, you know, she's grateful for everything, but she has to go her own way. And supposedly, you know, the Grinch's heart grew 10 sizes that day, and he let her go on and explore, and he let Dolly Parton out of her contract. Now, bear in mind, I don't think he had even the slightest idea just how popular she was gonna get, because from there, she crossed over to pop music when she sang the Bee Gees' penned Here You Come Again. This was like Dolly Parton tiptoeing around the idea of a country pop crossover. And it wasn't until she did 9 to 5 that Dolly Parton mania exploded. But Here You Come Again was enough of a hit to where people were like confused at what direction Dolly was actually going. Because like her country fans were alarmed, like, oh no, Dolly's gonna go pop and she's gonna leave country behind, which was never the idea she had. She always said that she was gonna take the country with her. Wherever she went, you know, she never could abandon it. Back piece is all combed out and she is big and lovely. Now, for the base wig, I actually have an older wig that I just combed out, and it's just a mid-length finger-waved wig. It's my standard curl pattern. The only thing I'm gonna do different, I'll show you, it's right here at the roots, right here, the front of it. I'm only gonna recurl one section of it. Now, Dolly was known for doing like the center split and like hair flowing down the sides like that. We might not stick entirely to that because again, with Dolly, a lot of her hairstyles kind of varied depending on how she felt that day. So sometimes it'd be center parted, sometimes it'd be a side part. You never really know what you're gonna get. And it's also depending on wherever, you know, the hair takes us, because sometimes the hair just wants to do its own thing. So I'm having it pointing straight up like that and just rolling it down like that, under rolling it so that it's pointing straight up, and do the same thing to the other side. And like I said, it's just this section here in the front that we're doing. All right, now I just need to steam this section right here, and I'll be right back and we'll start doing our styling. Be right back. All right, we are back. Okay, so I had these all curled out. I took the rollers out. We just want nice little ringlets like that. We can do like a finger wave kind of look because her hairstyles kind of merged different genres when it came to the 70s. Like it was kind of channeling like 1960s big hair, right? Mixed with like 1950s blonde bombshells. So it had like longer, like finger wavy versions, but like they're really her own unique spin to it. Like whoever was doing her hair was snapping. First things first, we gotta take our back piece and attach it right here. So Let me grab that. And it does not matter that the bangs are here because we also can play around with these to infuse them with the hairstyle. See, it's already kind of there. This is like 80s Dolly right now. What I love about like 80s and 70s Dolly are kind of interchangeable because if you just take the hair and smooth it out, the hairstyle is there. Like she generally had the same kind of hair shape her whole career. It's only until you get to like nowadays where she has like the bionic mullet that it's not really anything resembling what she used to have. But it's also like people's styles change when they get older. And Dolly definitely has settled into a hairstyle that she likes. This Porter Wagner Dolly is by far my favorite style-wise because like I said before, like she snapped when it came to her hair in this era. Like she was fearless, especially when you look at like her hairstyles for Jolene or I'll Always Love You, or even like her early parts on the show where she had like the big lift hair without the front styling. Like she would just do a big lift with long fall going down. Oh my God, my favorite Dolly wig would have to be Golden Streets of Glory, where it's her looking out the window. It's a religious album. I've never heard it, but I love the album cover. She's just looking out of a window and you see this beautiful, huge hair, like a nice flip in the front and it's just a long fall. Gorgeous. It's almost like Dolly does Raquel Welch in the 70s. It's amazing. Raquel Welch was known for that big like lift hair. If I ever get around to doing like iconic redheads, we will definitely do Raquel Welch. There's like several eras of her that we can get into. First things first, I gotta add a little bit of teasing to the side portions of hair right here, just so we can start creating the body. Because Dolly's hair was all about height. Like 70s Dolly by far is like the most fun when it comes to hairstyles. Like she was like go hard or go home when it came to her hair. Cause like she fought so hard to have her hair like that because everyone told her like no one's gonna take you seriously with hair like that. Like you gotta lose those wigs. And she stuck to her guns because she knew she was creating a look that no one else had that was distinguishable. Like you look at that and you're like, oh, that's Dolly Parton. Or if you see someone with hair like that, you're like, oh, that's a Dolly Parton kind of hair. Like she knew what she was doing. It's like those unique stories from people when like they're very, very young and their whole dream was just to be a star. She knew like my marketing and my branding is the most important thing that will be the thing that like makes me last forever. It only helps by making her music more memorable because she's such a personality. Like she's infectious enough to where like even if you haven't heard a Dolly Parton song, chances are you probably like her as a person or as an actress or whatnot. You know, I haven't gotten to the front bangs yet because that's gonna be a special kind of case. This side section, again, we're just gonna smooth out and blend together and see what story we can tell. Because even when you look at those Porter Wagner wigs, the sides and backs didn't really tell a whole lot of a story. It was all about the front. Because again, she wasn't gonna be seen from the back anyway. Whenever she came out to perform, she always was seen like that, from the front. They ever rarely gave you a shot of her from behind. Because bear in mind, Porter Wagner only gave her like a small segment on that show. She got to come out, sing her song, and that was it. So she has to make sure she came out, made a statement with her look, and then be on her way. And when she started to get hits of her own from that show, that's when he started to take notice and see the dollar signs rolling into his eyes. All right, we have our genuine general shape going on right now. Judging from it, like she had flicks happening in the front, and the rest was just like smoothed back and then flicks going down the sides. And depending on how she felt that day is wherever her part took her. Sometimes it was like a side middle part, sometimes it was a full middle part. It just depended. Whatever looked good with the outfit that day. Now we're working on the fringe, adding a base tease to that. Because everything has to have a base tease. And some of these wigs, you'll look at it and you'll notice that like her hair is blended with it. And sometimes it's just a full hard front with like the bang folded under. So that creates like a faux, you know, hairline. Like it's really clever. You can tell sometimes they're just like, we just don't have time to blend this hair. Maybe her hair wasn't freshly dyed. So it's just like a hack, Dolly cheat code, if you will. They would just, you know, put an extra fold in the finger wave that day so that it covered the hairline. But one thing is for sure with this hair is that it has to have teasing down for the volume. It doesn't matter so much if the hairline shows. I mean, it helps if you're doing a wig, but for a drag queen Dolly wig, it's all about this front section and just making sure it has the general shape. Now, y'all have heard me drum on and on about Dolly Parton for years on this channel. Like there are many a Dolly Parton dedicated videos because I just adore her. Like I love everything about her. From just the way she carries herself to like the way she does business to even like other things beyond her music. I love me some Dolly Parton as an actress. 9 to 5, Steel Magnolias, a movie I can watch no matter what. It's right up there with like my movies that I'll take on a desert island because I could just pop it on and I'll love it. Like that's my shut off movie. You see, we're already starting to shape a little bit. It's already starting to come to form. It's like little flicks happening. And like her 70s hair is the funnest because like it's so soft and so beautiful and just really delicately done. And it does not move. Like not even the bottom of it moves. It's fascinating. Like, she is wearing full-on helmets. Like, if you're ever in LA and you pass this wig shop called Outfitters Wigs, there's like these permanent display wigs that you can tell it's like they've been there for years because they're display just to show what they can do. And like, they are statues. They do not move. That's how Dolly Parton's hair is on the Porter Wagner show. This is where you have some fun. Bust out the comb and just start forming the little finger wave flicks. And like, they're not even like the classical finger wave style. It's just to get that idea of it. Like I said, like, her hair isn't like full on like a genre of anything. It's mixing all sorts of genres. It's like, it's big 60s hair from girl groups mixed with like 1950s bombshells. Like, there's so many references happening here. And that is one side down. Now he's got to do the other side, but it's generally the same thing. Like this, we just repeat it on the other side and just clean it up. And the top, like I said, is just smooth. And you go along with whatever waves are there and try and make them join up as best as possible, but they don't have to match perfectly, because if you look at Dolly's hair from that period, it didn't match perfectly all the time. Because like, sometimes her real hair just did not blend. So they had to let the wig do a lot more of the work. Like, I might hit this with stiffening spray too, just for the hell of it, because that was for the full Dolly effect, to get that big Dolly helmet. But for the most part, she's just about there. I just have to repeat the process here, and I can come back when it is all done. But this is how it should look on each side. Wah, wah, wah. Now, I'm gonna do this side, and I'll be right back with the final result. Welcome back. This is the final result. Okay, I'm obsessed with Dolly Parton, especially these wigs. Now, what I did off camera was, when I got it shaped the way I wanted it to, if it was too long in sections, like especially on the bang areas, I just cut the ends off a little bit at an angle so that it has a good flick to it, because it's all about the flicks of the bangs in this. Now, that's all you really need to like work on when it comes to mastering this hairstyle, because it seems a bit more complicated than it actually is. It's just a lot of like layering here in the front, just to like create curtains that are more like stylized. Now, I love Dolly Parton, as you already know. I'm glad I finally crossed this one off the docket, because it's been on here for a while to do like this classic 1970s Porter Wagner Dolly Parton hairstyle. Oh, like when she sings Jolene or I'll Always Love You, she always had hair like this. I was like, gasping, so beautiful. Oh my God. Oh my God, welcome back. It's me from an alternate universe. It's the multiverse of madness. Now you're wondering, how did my hair get this long? Well, here's a little pro tip for you guys. I took a fall that was a little longer and put it on my head and pinned it, and then I pulled this over and glued it on. Since this wig has layers in it, it works really well. I just blended it a little bit, and look at that. We have a longer wig now. And if you don't feel like having your hair long that day, you could always just take it off and you have the same shorter wig. Pro tip right here. It's the same thing Elvira does. She wears a long fall underneath her wig and then puts her topper wig over the beehive. Look at that. Showbiz secrets right here on this channel. And for layman's terms, just wear a longer wig underneath and put your styled wig on top of it. That's the simplified version. Anyways, back to the regular video. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Iconic Blondes. If there's an iconic blonde that you haven't seen yet, please leave her down below. I'm always taking suggestions. I've seen Debbie Harry thrown around. A lot of really great ideas, and I am taking them in. It's just their time hasn't come just yet. Now, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, bye. Now hit the outro. Click here and watch our last episode of Iconic Blondes. It was Beyonce. Or watch me talk about Gremlins, the greatest Christmas movie of all time. Come on, click it. You know you want to. If you don't click it, I'll have Porter Wagner kick you off his show. So click it.